Hi, everybody. It is me, Gina B. I am here by myself without my co-host tonight because Mama D is under the weather. However, our guest is here, David, and I'm going to read his bio, which is a little bit lengthy. And yes, I do need cheaters because I'm old. Um, but he's I usually have people off screen. Well, he's gonna just stay here and look pretty while I do this. So David Cunningham, excuse me, pardon me. He is a renowned transformational teacher, spiritual practitioner, and lifelong advocate for humanity. From humble beginnings in rural Pennsylvania to leading arguably the #1 transformational program on 6 continents. David's impact spans over 30 years as a senior program leader with Landmark Worldwide, where he has helped more than 500,000 people unlock new levels of freedom, authenticity, and love. His leadership has supported communities in healing, executive leaders in evolving, and people from all walks of life in rediscovering what truly matters in their lives. David's life is also a testament to courage and service. As a former special education teacher, LGBTQ plus rights advocate, and spiritual guide, he continues to create powerful new platforms for change. He has founded the Love Matters collaboration, a movement anchoring love as the preeminent way of being. This fall, he had launched The Awakening, a flagship transformational weekend designed to help people break through shame, judgment, and separation so they can live from love freely and fully. David is also spearheading Love Goes to the Capitol, a national initiative to send a copy of his book to every member of the U.S. Congress, inviting political leaders into a deeper conversation on compassion, humanity, and the power of love to guide public service. You know how important that is. His book, Your Love Does Matter, A Journey to New Consciousness and Expanding Your Love Footprint, is the distilled summary of all his life work. This book offers a profound path to healing, forgiveness, loving freely and fully, and spiritual growth, helping each of us reclaim the truth that we are here to love. Today, we'll explore David's incredible journey, his transformational teachings, and how each of us can expand our own love footprint in the world. And thank you for joining us. And please, everybody, excuse my horrible, horrible voice at the moment. Welcome, David.
Thank you so much. So great to be with you. And hello to everybody watching and listening. Hello.
Okay. And when if you guys have comments or questions, please put them up on the screen. We'll put them up and we'll ask David live. And so I'm going to just start. Now, that was a long bio, and you have a long history of things you have done, things you have accomplished. And in your book, oh, by the way, lots of dog ears.
Good. I like that.
Yeah. But you don't fear from veering from all of your lifelong endeavors. And can we just start there? Let's kind of go back and share a little bit about your early life. Okay, what was your first calling to dedicate your life to transformation? What led you all the way to just being who you are now?
Well, let's see. We'll go way back, okay?
Yeah, way back, yeah.
I'm 74, so we're going to go back to when I was 4. Okay, so we're going to go back 70 years in time, okay? But all silliness aside, I grew up in a really small rural town in western New York State. And one night, my family took me to church for a candlelight service, which meant that it was a really small church, a really small town, but the whole sanctuary was lit just by candles, which I thought was amazing. But then the service, believe it or not, was an artist painting a picture of Jesus with children on a velvet canvas. Do you ever see a painting on a velvet canvas?
I have. That's stunning. Yeah.
Yeah. And, a lot of times you see them by the highway. There's a painting of Elvis Presley or Tiger, right?
But I've seen some really good ones.
This was a painting of Jesus on a velvet background. And in my 4-year-old eyes, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. But the important part was I got really just completely overtaken by this experience of love and Christ's love for the children. And I think, or I would say that it was my first encounter with my own soul, because I remember saying to myself, I love that much. That's how much I love people. And I was moved by that fullness of love, the complete, what I would call grace, love that didn't have to be deserved, would never be taken away, full love. I was moved by it and recognized myself in it. That's why I say it's the first encounter with my own soul. And that's at 4. And then, as life happens, as things developed in my own family, a few years later, my dad, I still don't know why, but my dad turned very violent. And so my household, which I thought was a home of love, became a violent household. And then we moved away from the rest of my family. And there's one memory I have of us driving away, and I watched my grandmother literally fall down hysterically crying that we were leaving. And I looked at my parents in the front seat, like, aren't we going to do anything? And then we just drove away, right? So the love I thought that mattered so much, all of a sudden apparently didn't matter that much. And, there were several instances over the next few years where that became reinforced, that message. Like, I guess love doesn't matter that much. I came out as a gay man myself in my early 20s, my late teens, early 20s, and was told my love was unacceptable and inappropriate. And
Right.
so I got that message. So by the time I was in my early 20s, that love that I had known for myself was pretty gone, right? Not gone, but it was no longer in my awareness.
It stinks.
Yeah, my heart got closed. It did, right? And so it wasn't until 1983, actually, I had my first transformational experience in a program that was then called the S training, that was pretty infamous around the world, but especially in the United States. And in that program, there was the program itself that was utterly transformational. But I remember there was a point on the last day of the program where I was in a hotel ballroom in New York City, probably 300 people. And I was again struck by at one point in that program, everybody was accepted. It was in that room. It was from any walk of life, from anywhere in the world. Everybody was accepted by everybody. And I was reawakened to, oh, that's it. I remember now.
It can happen. It's a possibility that this is a real thing.
Exactly. So then, I got so, I was so moved by it. I actually went on to get myself trained to lead that program. And then I led that program for 35 years, believe it or not. But then also I met a spiritual guru. Her name is Sai Ma. And in my meeting, and that was a few years later, and Sai Ma, from a spiritual aspect, so touched my heart, opened my heart, and gave me permission to fully, with no embarrassment, love fully again. And yeah, that's Sai Ma. That's exactly her. Yes.
Yes. And you had a picture of her in the back of the book.
I do. Yeah.
And can cut it out and use it in prayers, which I think is like, just
yeah.
so cool.
So that was, and then a few years ago when I quote unquote officially retired, it was, okay, what am I going to do with the next 30 years of my life? Like, what's my life going to be about now? And my mom's 99 and alive and kicking. So I got good genes. So I plan on living a long time. So I really said, what am I going to create for the next 30 years? And that's when I created the purpose of my life for the next 30 years is that love prevails as the preeminent way of being on the planet. Love prevails. Love wins as the preeminent way of being on the planet. And I'm serious about it. And I've founded the Love Matters Collaboration, pulled a board of directors together. I am out to have that happen, have love prevail as the preeminent way of being on the planet. And so I wrote the book and have many other projects going to fulfill that.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it says this is your first book. So, that means there's room for many more.
And if I could, I wrote the book. There's a couple of things I discovered in writing the book, but I was very committed. You can write about something, but it makes no difference. Like, you could read a book about leadership and not end up a leader. You could read a book about being effective and not end up effective. Yeah. So I wasn't willing to write a book about love that didn't have people end up loving in a whole new way. So I really worked and worked and worked, and I'm committed. And the feedback I'm getting is that, yes, this book, as you read this book, it's not about love. It's a pathway to
Yeah.
a new paradigm of loving.
Interactive and very easy to read. You know, you don't want to put it down once you start reading. It's like it's a book you'll read over and over, you know, while you're learning, while you're doing, while you're, you know, to refresh things. And it's easy enough to do that.
I'm so glad. Good, good. That was the point.
Yeah, that's it. Lots of dog ears already.
Good.
It really, really is. And I think this is, when you say you want to put this in the hands of our political leaders, more so now than ever before. I mean, we've always had combative things going on, but not like this.
It seems the vitriol is at a level that we, at least in our lifetime, we haven't experienced before. And so I sent a copy of the book to every member of Congress, representatives and senators, and I sent the book to the president and the vice president. And I sent a message with it to make sure. I said this. I said to them, I said, this is not sent as a moral issue, like you should be more loving, and it's not sent as a Pollyannish message, like, oh, wouldn't it be nice for more loving?
Right.
This is a message about love as the basis for effective leadership and legacy leadership. And, you know, I point out that the greatest leaders we've ever seen in the world, the Mahatma Gandhis, the Dr. Kings, are the ones that refused not to love. They just refused not to love. Those have been our greatest leaders in the world. And so I wanted to get this book in the hands of our political leaders, not as like a lecture to them, but as a resource to them for that kind of effective, powerful legacy type leadership. And I'm committed that it does that. And then we got one other project going with it. You want to hear it? Yeah. Which is that I'm starting in Pennsylvania, and then I'm hoping the people in other states pick it up around the country, and then I'm hoping that it goes global. But I'm going to start in Pennsylvania for starting next year. We have a group of people that are going to go to the state capitol every week for a year. And every week they're going to go, no political talk whatsoever. They're just going to go do acts of love. So the first week, they're going to take up a group. I've been working with a group of men right out of prison as they transition back in the community. So we're going to take the guys right out of prison up to the Capitol and have them deliver an orchid to every legislator. Wow. The next week, we're going to take a group of trans teenagers up and just have them open the doors for legislators as they come and go. No political talk whatsoever, just gracious, honorable, loving service. The next week, we're going to take a group of moms on food assistance programs up and have them deliver a letter of acknowledgement to every legislator. So we're planning out 52 projects like that, so we can do one a week for a year. And I'm committed that at the end of a year, if we do that for a year, at the end of a year, it will have to have made it.
Yes, something is going to click somewhere.
In the ethos.
One person, you know, it could just be the one person that makes that big difference, that gets through that door.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, look at the commitment that this guy is putting towards this project. That's how much this means to him and all these people that are doing it.
Yeah. So anybody that wants to try that in their own state, please call me, contact me, or just go ahead and do it. But I'll be a resource for anybody that wants to do that in their own state. I'm hoping that other people pick up that idea and run with it. But love goes to the Capitol is one aspect of our strategy to have love prevail in the world.
Right. And that's the picture I put up there is where it says it. Come on, I keep losing it.
Yeah.
The www.yourlovedoesmatter.com/capital_love. I'm saying that all out loud for the audio only version of the show. And also his website is www.yourlovedoesmatter.com.
And people can get everything at yourlovedoesmatter.com. They can find out about everything we talk about there. Okay.
Right. And you have a store too. I was like, you get some cute things on your store.
Well, here's why. Okay, it's because I'm committed that it's something getting the consciousness of the world, which is this notion of a love footprint. You know how we're talking about we have a carbon footprint. I also would like us to consider we have a love footprint. In other words, every time you and I leave an interaction, whether it's a 30-second interaction with a clerk in a store, or it's a 2-hour lunch with our family, or it's we work side by side with a colleague for a year, when we leave, a good question is, what do we leave behind? Do we leave behind argument, righteousness? Do we leave behind indifference? Do we leave behind indeed love? And I'm inviting us to get in our consciousness that we have a love footprint, and we think about that. And so the point of having a store is get hoodies with expand your love footprint on it. I want that to become talked about in the world. Like, hey, what's your love footprint? So
Right.
I want it to become a worldwide conversation. So that's why we have a store, so that we can get what's your love footprint on hoodies out there.
I love it. I love it. So what was it? What was it that happened that changed your life? Like later on, like, I know you've gone through a lot of things, right? I know you've gone through a lot of relationship, and you lost people, and you love people, and you lost people, and and you had issues with the sexuality and the acceptance and whatnot. And now you have children, so there was that whole thing. Like, you're so lucky that your children are very loving and accepting of you, where a lot of people aren't. Because I know this happened to a girlfriend of mine too. Her husband, they got married, and I told her at the beginning, I said, he's gay. It's like, no, he's not. I said, yeah, he is. And then 5 years later, I'm out, and and she's okay. They're friends. They're okay,
Bravo. Yeah. Yay.
On the other hand, not so much okay, but
yeah. Well, one of the things I think is that I learned early on is that I had no right to people's acceptance. That if I was going to live in the grace of people's acceptance, it would be something that I caused. I didn't have a right to it. And I found that what it is that whatever people might have had difficulty in accepting, if I could walk them through dealing with whatever they had difficulty with, that they would end up naturally accepting. And probably the best test case was my parents, of course. And I remember one evening just sitting down with my parents for like 2 hours saying, tell me everything you're concerned about. Tell me everything that I haven't been listening to, or that you don't think I pay attention to. And I listened and I listened for about 2 hours. And they said some things I didn't enjoy, you can imagine, but I found out I could listen, and we can listen no matter what people say. And if people get listened to, even if you don't agree, they know they've been heard. They get satisfied. And so, at the end of 2 hours, my dad stood up and looked at my mom and said, I guess that's everything, isn't it, Betty? And my mom goes, I guess so. My dad just opened his arms and said, welcome home. And that was it. That was, I've now lived, that would be now many years, 40 years, I guess, in the stated grace of my parents' acceptance and love. And I've been part of my mission has been to actually serve the world that way, to have that level of acceptance be available on the planet.
And then I thought we were past all of this at this moment in time, and now here it is. It's like our leaders are like closing those doors on everybody again and trying to revoke this and revoke that, and this is unacceptable. And it's like, come on, we are so far past this. Stop putting us in the dark ages. But
well, here's the lesson, though, right? Is again, gotta love them, because that is the only thing we got. We got to refuse not to love everybody, and including those people that we would, possibly vehemently disagree with politically or ideologically. We've got to offer them our love, because that's the only way we'll accomplish anything together. So,
well, because love is the higher vibration. And that higher vibration will squash out that lower vibration that they put out, and or it will infect them one way or the other.
I don't think it squashes it. I think it dissolves it. It's what.
It's just gonna just kind of
dissolve it. It's not a bad word.
I like it. And all right, so tell me about being a special ed teacher too. Now that is a special person right there. When I read that first, before I even read the book, and I was reading the bio, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to have the patience and the kindness and the compassion to be a special education teacher, then in my book, you're already special.
Well, it's funny how I got into it, right? It was way back a long time ago when I was in college, and I was still at that point dating women. And there was this one girl I wanted to date, and she didn't want to date me. She says, "I don't want to date you, but you can come volunteer with me. I do volunteer work at a school for special needs kids. You can come volunteer with me if you want." I had no idea what she was talking about. I had no idea, but I wanted to be with her. So I said, "Sure, I'll go." And we walked, she took me to a center, a state facility with kids that were as severely disabled as you can imagine. Mostly laying on the floor, self-mutilating, deaf, dumb, blind. I mean, as severely disabled as you could get. And I was quite frankly horrified at first. I'd never seen anything like this. I didn't know it existed. And she literally walked over, picked up this little girl named Diane, I'll never forget, brought Diane over, put her in my arms, and I melted. I could cry about it now. It's like, I just melted with this child. And so that was how I became a special ed teacher.
Wow. Hey, well, you know what? Whatever works.
Yeah, right.
Men have done a lot more for dates with women.
that was a very beautiful beginning to. I really did have a gifted career. I'm so grateful for my career, but that was a beautiful beginning to be able to work with those kids and to really develop. I developed a compassion for them and their families, like not a sympathy, but a compassion. Like, oh, here's what it takes to be them and survive in the world.
I know, right? Every day. That's a nonstop thing. And I do paranormal stuff, and we do this big event at Penhurst Asylum. And then you think, that is the place where, people would take those kids and or adults and just discard them, and they don't realize that they are, in fact, human beings. And that you have people working with them, they can actually, progress and learn and do things, and instead of just discarding. So, I mean, again, because it hit home to me because, I go there and I do these things just to preserve the property,
Good for you. Wonderful. Let's talk for a minute about betting it all on love. Okay. So what I mean by that is, we think oftentimes our intelligence is what matters, or our logic is what matters, or we sometimes try to rely on being convincing or being strategic or something. And if that doesn't work, we try to rely on being forceful or dominant sometimes. I have found, and I invite others to find, you can bet it all on love. Whether you're dealing with, let's suppose you're having difficulty with a teenage child, or let's suppose you're having difficulty dealing with a boss. I don't care what the situation is. Notice what you're relying on to try to handle the situation, and notice I'm trying to rely on being right, or I'm trying to rely on being logical, and it's not working. I'm inviting us to rely on loving. Bet it all on love. Like if we were at a poker table, put all our chips on love. That is the one thing that will have anything work out, without which it's not going to. But if we bet everything on that, if we love the other person, we can work anything out. We can resolve anything. In fact, we can work miracles with people. So I'm inviting us to bet it all on love.
Okay. And you do explain that. You give us a list of things. So it's like when you read that list and you think of interactions that you've had with people, you go, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I'm guilty. Yes, I have done that. And what if I didn't do that? And it's an instant change, and it's an instant, I can definitely do this.
Yeah, I was working with one mother whose daughter-in-law, she didn't like the way the daughter-in-law was raising the kids. Okay. And she was she even wrote a letter to the daughter-in-law explaining all the good ways to raise kids. And she tried to, give
Her ways.
her best advice, right, about how to raise kids. And the daughter-in-law and her were at war about it. And I saw my coaching number was, all right, forget all your wisdom, forget all your advice. It's not making any difference anyway. Go love your daughter-in-law. Go just love her. And the daughter-in-law all of a sudden started responding, and they're now in communication and working things out, because it takes you can't expect to make a difference with somebody that you don't love, because if you don't experience being loved by somebody, you can't listen to them. So power is a function of being listened to. A human being's power is a function of how much they're listened to. I don't care how brilliant a person is, if nobody listens to them, they've got no power. The most powerful people in the world are the ones that are listened to. What has us get listened to is love. I will listen to you when I'm present to your loving me. Oh, so let's learn that lesson. And in the toughest situations, we want to work something out with somebody. Our love for them is what will have us be able to be connected and work things out together.
Right. And so many people too, they bark and bark and bark and bark and bark and bark. And it's like, okay. All right. I can't listen to you if you're barking. You have to talk. And first of all, you can listen to me and I can listen to you. Right. So strategiet.
Yeah. Another thing that gets in the way in conversations, if we can take a minute, is, I think as a society, we have put all the value on being right. So when we're in a conversation and we're listening to the other person, we're listening for, do we agree or disagree with them? Or do we think they're right or they're wrong? And if we think they're wrong, we try to convince them that we're right. And if they would just listen to us, they would know what was right. So we've got to, as a society,
I do that a lot.
Okay. This is like, and especially if, family, a lot of families are telling me now that they're fighting in the family about politics. In the family, they're fighting about politics. Okay. So what if we didn't worry about who's right and what's wrong, who's right and who's wrong, excuse me. And here's a radical statement. Ready? Nobody's ever been right and nobody's ever been wrong. I've never been right and I've never been wrong. You've never been right. You've never been wrong. Nobody ever has. We all have a view of life and none of us have the same view. And to argue which view is right or wrong makes no sense. If you're in front of my house and I'm behind my house, we have different views. Which one's the right view makes no sense.
Right.
So in conversations, we can be interested in each other's views and with zero, give up any concern for who's right or wrong, have an appreciation for each other's views. That is a way to take the tension out of conversations, the argument out of conversations. Zero concern for who's right and wrong, because nobody ever is. We have views and everybody has their own views. And the question is, what's your view? And let me have.
If we were all the same, we'd all be robots.
There you go. All right.
Right.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
what's the fun in that?
Yeah. So even with somebody that you have different views from, it's different to relate to them like they're wrong versus they simply have a different view. And and you can also have compassion, because our views give us our lives. Like my actions are always consistent with my view of life. If I look at the coffee and I think it's hot, I'll sip it. If I look at the coffee and I think it's cold, I'll gulp it. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I burn my mouth because I gulp it, and sometimes I sip it and it's cold. But my action is based on my view of life, not how life really is. So to understand somebody's actions, we have to understand their view of life and not worry about, is it a right view or wrong view? Because there's no such thing as a right view or wrong view. It's just a view.
Very smart. It's very smart. I like this viewpoint. It's very much. Now, how can I say this? You talk about a lot of different things in your book. Now, like gratitude and forgiveness, okay, is huge, I think. in all of this, because when we hope to do what you want to do right there, what you were just talking about just then, we have to let things go, right? So whether we're forgiving ourselves, whether we're forgiving that person, if we think they wronged us, they might not even know they wronged us, but we think they did, and we can be holding this grudge. Now, you talk about it, though. You talk about forgiveness, and just tell me why you think this is so important in this journey.
Wonderful. Well, I assert that when we're free, we love. So I would never try to have somebody become more loving. No, that's not the job. When we're free, we love. The job is only to have whatever stops people from loving, whatever closes their heart, take that out of the way. And when you take that out of the way, then people naturally love. Now, resenting and judging has become normal, but there's a big difference between what's normal and what's natural. Just because we've gotten used to something doesn't mean it's natural for us.
Yeah.
So I'm asserting that what's natural for us is loving, and that if we're not loving, the job isn't try to be more loving. No, the job is to, what had me close my heart? And it will be resentment, opinion, judgment, fear. Okay. And the job is then to take those out of the way. So, and when I do, then I naturally love again. So forgiveness is one of those things. Forgiveness is, you did something and I start resenting you. Okay. Now, if I forgive you, people don't like forgiveness because they think it means I condone what you did, or I excuse what you did, or I give you permission to do it again. No, it's none of that. Forgiveness, forgive. I give you my love back like I did before you did anything. And it's not even for the person. It's my choice about my life. You did something. I now have a choice. I'm either going to lead a resenting life, or I'm going to lead a loving life. It's my life. Which one am I going to lead? Have you noticed a resenting life is no fun? A loving life is where all the joy and effectiveness is. So when I forgive, it's not even for the other person. It's me just taking a stand for the life I'm going to live. It's my choice about my life, and I choose living a loving life. It doesn't approve of what you did. It doesn't condone what you did. It doesn't give you permission to do it again. It simply says, I love you. I'm gonna keep loving you, and no matter what happened in the past. And that's a major freedom. That's giving yourself freedom to be loving. Now, why do this? Is it moralistic because you should? No. Is it Pollyannish because wouldn't it be nice? No. It's because that's when we're happy. Can we please just notice we're only happy when we're being loving? We're not happy when we're being resenting. So it's about our happiness. In fact, it's about joy, which is beyond happiness. And it's our effectiveness, as I said before, it's the only thing that has us be effective with people. So it's for us. It's our choice about our life, a loving life.
Yeah. And I feel like that can get taken away just like this. Like you can be as happy as can be, and then someone walks in the room and they are the grumpiest thing on the planet. It's just like, hold on. I have this good thing going on here. I do not need this.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Can we talk about love as a way of being? Can we talk about that for a minute? All right. So it's important, I think, for people to get love, not as an emotion, like I feel love or I don't feel love. The emotions are something we have. And what's important to notice is we don't have any control over what we have. I could have a car 1 minute, it's gone the next. I could have a job 1 minute, it's gone the next. I can have an emotion of love and it's gone the next minute. I can have an emotion of anger and it's gone the next minute. So if we relate to love merely as an emotion, we don't have any power with it. If we relate to love as a thought, like I have loving thoughts, same thing. Thoughts are things we have. We don't have any control over what thoughts we have. So if we relate to love as thoughts and we think I don't love if I don't have loving thoughts, that would be, it would leave us pretty powerless. So, but there's ways of being as human beings. So there's we could be generous, we can be stingy. We can be tender, we can be cold. We can be respectful. We can be disrespectful. There's a domain of our lives called who we be as human beings, the way we're being. And that is the one thing we have total say about. Whether I'm generous or stingy, that's up to me every minute of every day. Whether I'm tender or cold, that's up to me every minute of every day. So it's useful for people to relate to love as a way of being that they have total say about, even no matter what emotion or thought they're having.
My dad always said when we were growing up, the golden rule, treat others like you want to be treated yourself. And that was, all the time, especially if there was three of my siblings, if we started fighting,
Yeah.
He didn't talk much, he would get forceful at times, but when he did talk, it would be things like that, little things of wisdom, golden rule. Start yelling at me like, okay.
Good.
That was mine.
Well, the senior lesson there is that our happiness, or let me say it this way, the way another person treats us has nothing to do with our experience. In other words, if you love me and while you're loving me, I'm cranky, I don't experience love, I experience crankiness. And if you respect me and while you're respecting me, I'm disrespecting you, I don't experience respect, I experience disrespect. It goes the other way too. If you're disrespecting me and while you're disrespecting me, I respect you, I don't experience disrespect, I experience respect. And if while I'm loving you, you're cranky, I experience love. So it's important to get that our experience never, ever comes from the other person. It's who we're being that gives us our experience, 100%.
Yeah, but I think, if you greet someone with a smile, you are going to get a lot more. You'll get a smile back as opposed to a edible look.
Some conditions make it easier for us, right? So in other words, if I walk up to you and you're smiling, it makes it easier for me to be also, like a kind or a friendly person. But it's still who I'm being that gives me the call to my life, even though you made it a little bit easier for me.
Okay. All right. I like that. Now, how did you work with people across 6 continents?
Oh, airplanes.
So you're physically going to these places. You're not like Zooming. You're not doing things like that.
For many years, for 30 some years, it was a lot of travel. I traveled many years. I traveled as much as 300 days a year. So it was a lot of travel. Got to work with people all over the world. It was such a gift. I met people from the slums of Mumbai to the most high-level executive boardrooms. I've met all kinds of people, all groups of people, and what a privilege it has been to work with everybody for one thing and one thing only: their freedom. That's all I work on, is people being free from resentments, free from regrets, free from fear, free from judgment. Because when people are free, they love. And when they love, they're joyous and they're effective. So it was a real privilege to serve people in that way all over the world. What a gifted life it's been.
Now, here's a question. Now, if you have gone to, say, like one of these places that was pretty good when you got there, did you revisit and see how things have changed since you've been there? Or do you get updates?
Yeah, I get updates. I also, but I get updates mostly from people, right? So that I would go work with a group of people and I'd get updates from the people over time, what's happened for them. And people report consistently that the kind of work we did was a turning point in their life. And but it's like the same I got for myself back in 1983. It was a turning point where I discovered that I could be the author of my life. Because I had a say about who I was being as a human being. So it becomes a turning point for people, yes. And the experiences were just, even immediately were one experience I had just to show you the greatness of people. As I was walking through the slums of Mumbai, and the slums of Mumbai are in the middle of the day. It could be noon, dark, 100 degrees, stench. It's an environment that's hard to describe, actually. And I was walking through, and it's dark, and I was walking through an alley, and I tripped over something in the alley. And much to my horror, I looked back, and it was a little girl sitting there. When I saw what I tripped over was a little girl sitting there in the alley, and I hadn't seen her in the dark. But you know what she did? I stopped, turned around, looked at her, and she held up an arithmetic paper she was working on. So proud, with this big smile on her face, like, look at my arithmetic, right? She was so happy, so proud. I just saw, again, the human spirit, right? In the face of any circumstance, the human spirit is worth fighting for. It sure is.
Oh, I'm telling you, my whole entire faith in humanity was restored. We do Mr. and Mrs. Claus. We do this Toys for Tots thing over the weekend.
Uh-huh.
And right at the beginning, and it was funny because the news station was there at that time, but this little girl came up. They thought we hired her, and we didn't. But she came up, the most sweetest, kindest, loving, exceptional, like little angel I've ever seen. And she just melted my heart. Her name was Vivian. I mean, Vivian, of all things. I'm like, wow, who names their child Vivian anymore? I'm like, this is great. So I'm down with the big Claus outfit, and I'm down on the ground with her. I needed help up because Mrs. Claus is old, and I couldn't get up. But she gave me the nicest hug, and it was like all on the camera. I posted all the pictures of this little girl, and it was just like her little face. She shines. There's like this beam, this white energy that was coming off this little girl, and I'm still beaming off of her energy now. Like she really, really did. She restored me that much.
Great. And as human beings, if we can keep ourselves that free, and if something happens where we lose our freedom, again, it's a matter of getting ourselves set free of that which suppresses that natural, whatever that natural human spirit. So it's never trying to fix people or change people or improve people. It's setting them free. That's the job.
That's a good job. And you're our leader.
Well, I want to start a movement. Okay. So that's why I founded the Love Matters Collaboration. It's a nonprofit organization, and I want people to join it. And when people join the collaboration, right, you don't pay a fee. There's no membership fee. There never will be, because I want people in any circumstance to be able to join. When you join the collaboration, though, I have you pledge to expand your love footprint. So you signed a pledge to ever expand your love footprint. Whoever you go, whoever you're with, you're expanding your love footprint. So I'm committed that we get, in the next 2 years, I'm committed that we end up with members from every country in the world. Every country in the world gets represented with people who actually sign a pledge to expand their love footprint. So in that way, we can make this a grassroots movement that's worldwide.
I like it. Well, you let me know what I need to do to help.
All right. Well, I think you just put the website up again. If people just go to Your Love Does Matter, or the Love Matters Collaboration, go to that website, yourlovedoesmatter.com, and ask to be a member. And remember, it's free. It's just you sign a pledge to your love footprint. And that's, can you imagine if we have people from every country in the world who say, yes, I promise to, I pledge to expand my love footprint wherever I go, whoever I'm with.
Yep.
That would be a state change for society. It will be.
Well, I really feel like this is needed again. I got to say it again. I just can't believe the turmoil that we are in. I can't believe how far back we've gone in such a little amount of time, when we should be so much ahead of everything, leaps and bounds. And this, the world came together and did the same thing over COVID. It's a possibility. Your room of people that you walked into that accepted everybody, it is possible. It is doable. Does it need to happen? hell yes. Excuse my language, but it really does, and now more than ever. And I really think that higher vibration, that love energy, that, it just needs to
Awesome.
expand everywhere.
Yeah, good. I think we can do it. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very, I'm not kidding about this. Love prevails is the permanent way of being on the planet. I think if you look at a strategy, right, it's a grassroots movement. That's part of it.
Right.
Part of it is strategy is infuse love into the political system. Part of it is also in the universities, because our leaders, our future business leaders, our future political leaders come out of the universities. So to actually infuse it into the, developing a curriculum that can actually be taught in universities. So get it in the curriculum of our, MBA programs and the curriculum of our teacher training programs. So so a grassroots movement, infuse it in the political system, in the universities, okay, and then general public awareness, like we're doing right now.
Right.
We can do this. We can have love prevail. Also, if I could, back in the 70s and 80s, right, 1970s, 1980s, the rhetoric was very vehemently anti-gay, right?
It was, yeah.
Yes. And I know that at the time I hated it, but as I look back on it,
people are scared of what they don't understand.
Yeah. And as I look back on it, it was the beginning though of it being talked about, right? And all right, that was the beginning. So now I'm watching the conversation breaks my heart for what's being said about the trans community. Okay, just breaks my heart. And at the same time, it's being talked about.
So another beginning. Maybe you have to take the step back to have another beginning again.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm confident we will. I'm confident we will work this out as well, and love's going to prevail. I'm confident.
Well, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Steadfastness and confidence. I mean, it's like stay the course, right?
And walk the talk. We got to love to know everybody, regardless of their view. Regardless, it's our.
I love you. I love the movement that you're going to be doing with the Capitol next year. I mean, is this going to be something that we can see? Is it going to be filmed? Where's it going to be? Is it going to be? Do you have a YouTube channel? Is it going to be on that?
That's all being set up as we talk, right? So it's all being set up. But yes, we'll go very public with that, so people can pick up the idea and run with it themselves, and also be inspired by it.
Right. I mean, if you're watching this, please share this. I mean, if you're listening to it on the audio only venue, please share it. And again, it is yourlovedoesmatter.com.
Yeah. And like you said too, it's like we'll want to do some before and after documentation too. Like, okay, so we do all this, now what happens, right? And we'll want to see that it made the difference we really wanted to make. Okay.
Yep. Something was making a noise over here. I don't know what it was. That's kind of creepy.
Not a pet?
No, I don't have any pet. My baby died, so I'm like,
so sorry.
Petless right now. It could be their spirit. I mean, there's all stuff going on. It could be my heat. I don't know. But let's see. Well, all right. I have some like sections of questions to ask you and such, but I'm going to be going into the global mission, because that's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. What can we tell our friends? Okay, because we have this, we have internet. We're talking to people all over the world. Now, what do we tell our friends, like layman terms? Okay. Hey, you got to get involved with this. Like, go see what this is doing here at this point. Like, is there something else, like something that we can see that's already happened? Because people need convincing sometimes. It's like, well, he's doing this and he wants to do that. He wants to do this. I mean, is there something like we have this. We have this that's in here.
Book, right? Like you said, we're a YouTube channel. I'm doing as many TV interviews as I can because, again, I want to get the message out, right? I think this love footprint, Gina, this whole notion of a love footprint, the reason I created that, invented that, was because I think it's really something anybody can bite into. No matter what we think about global warming stuff, we've kind of gotten used to carbon footprint. In fact, I was just talking to somebody in Japan a couple hours ago, and I talked about carbon footprint. I said, does that translate into Japanese? And he says, he goes, yes, carbon footprint. That's how they.
Really? Wow.
So it's how they. He says that's how they refer to it in Japan. It's carbon footprint. So no matter where you stand on the issue of global warming, the idea of a carbon footprint is tangible.
Yes.
So I wanted to get something tangible. So love footprint. So, for example, my mom's, as I said, is 99 years old, right? And she has a friend who's 94, the young age of 94, that lives next door. And so I was visiting my mom the other day, and her 94-year-old friend came over, and she had read my book. And she goes, guess what happened? I go, what? She goes, I was in the grocery store and I was reaching up for something on the shelf and somebody banged my cart behind me. And I was about to turn around and be angry at them. But as I was turning around, the thought went through my mind, my love footprint. She goes, so by the time I turned around, I ended up being nice to the person. And
wow.
She goes, because I thought of love footprint. She goes, and then this other thing happened. She goes, then the same woman, she goes, and then I came home and then I was in the dining room. They live in a senior complex. She goes, I went down to the dining room and we had a nice dinner and there was a new teenage server and he was really good. And I got back up to my room thinking how good he was. And then I realized when I got up to my room, I didn't tell him. And I thought, my love footprint. So I walked back down to the dining room and told him. But that was two examples in one day where the thought, my love footprint, went through her mind and altered her behavior.
Good. See, now that's tangible.
That's tangible. So that's what I want. If we can just get love footprint in our consciousness, it will easily alter our behavior. That's what I'm committed to. That's why I invented that, the whole notion of love footprint. So the more I can get the whole notion of love footprint advertised, the better I am.
Yeah. And again, like I said, you have that list of all the ways we can look at something when we're talking with someone, our expectations and whatnot. And
I have a neighbor who I was on election day, last presidential election day, I was startled when I saw my neighbor volunteering at the table of the party that's the exact opposite party that I would be involved in, right? Like, I was like, what are you doing over there? Right? I was actually startled by it, right? And then I watched him on Facebook over the next couple of days post some things that were quite argumentative, you could say, right? And so I watched it for a couple of days and thought, okay, I got to talk to him, right? And so I called him up. I said, hey, can I come over? And I just, because I just want to find out. I don't understand how you see things. Can I come over? Will you just tell me how you see things, right? So I went over to his house and I sat there for probably 2 hours and listened. I didn't say a word for 2 hours. And he told me everything for like 2 hours. Told me what he thought about everything. And now a lot of it I wanted to disagree with, but that wasn't the point, was it? The point, because again, what
you want to understand what he's.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Plus, I can only disagree with something that I think is wrong. And what if nothing is ever wrong? It's only a view. So I kept catching myself in the conversation. Okay, just listen for his view.
Yeah. But the problem with this theory is the views are in government right now, and they are putting things onto us and we have no say about it. You know what I mean? Like nothing we can do to stop this bullying that is going on in the world right now. And it's like, so I can sit and say I love all day long, but it
Well,
isn't changing what is happening with the law passerby, or these people that are putting all these things into motion that is just crumbling.
here's where you're going to find. I did a couple free calls. Had a few hundred people right after the election. I did these free calls. I just advertised them on Facebook. Said whoever wants to come. And they were called "Finding Your Purpose, Place, and Power After the Election." And they were for everybody, regardless of your preference and your party. It was for anybody. Finding your purpose, place, and power after the election. And one of my points I think was important is that it'll give you peace when you resolve what you're going to do about it, even if the answer is nothing. I'm doing nothing about it. Once you resolve what you're going to do about it, just resolving it for yourself gives you some peace. So, I decided what I was going to do is send my book to every member of Congress. I decided what I was going to do is this project called Love Goes to the Capitol. I decided what I'm going to do is I actually include in my daily meditations, I include all those people that I would quote unquote disagree with, and include them in my meditation and bestow grace on them. What do I mean by bestow grace? Is I simply
talk a lot about grace.
Yeah, but in a simply said, in street talk, just wish them well. I wish them peace, wish them love, wish them well. We can do that with anybody.
Yeah.
Or bestowing grace. So that's what I'm doing. I sent my book to Congress. I'm starting this project, Love Goes to Capitol, and I am including these people and bestowing grace on them in my daily meditation.
Yeah. Now, see, people, there is something we can do. Right?
Good. Okay, and I'm setting up so that I can start this grassroots movement for, love prevailing. Okay, but the answer could be nothing. I'm going to do nothing about it. Even if the answer is nothing, I assert for people that if you resolve what you're going to do about it, even if the answer is nothing, your resolution about what you're going to do will give you peace. Yeah. And there's nothing we should do, but it just gives you peace. So that's my recommendation for people is resolve what you're going to do about it. And even if the answer is nothing, you'll get peace. Okay. And
what was this in the programs? What programs are
in the programs? That was I try to do free calls. I'm doing some for in January. They'll be advertised on my website and on my Facebook. My Facebook site, by the way, is Daid Cunningham Author on Facebook.
That's scrolling along the bottom now. All this YouTube.
I'm going to do some free calls in early January. Excuse me. And these will be about creating 2026 as a year of love. So, and they're free. And I'll have a few hundred people on the calls by the time we're done. But to really empower people to how to powerfully and authentically create 2026 as a year of love for oneself. So
that'd be a great way to start the year, I'll tell you, because I know a lot of people are like just so anxiety filled about the year coming up, and the changes and the, just the financial impact that everyone is under right now. And now all the things with the college students and the loan forgiveness being now not forgiven and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of pressure on people going into the next year.
There is.
And this is my point as to when people say, I want something tangible, I need proof that, what, I'm not going to blindly go here and do this. And it's like, well, here you go. He's doing stuff. Okay. He's doing stuff. And, it's just too important not to, and to start the new year off that way.
Yeah, great. I'm doing a program too, Gina. I call it The Awakening, right? So it's a weekend program and I tried to bring together there's a place where transformational conversations, like those brilliant transformational conversations where you literally see something you never saw before in the conversation, and spiritual, like a spiritual awakening. There's a place where those two things intersect that is very powerful, transformation and spirituality. So I invented a course called The Awakening. The subtitle of it is I call it The Anointment of Self as Source. The Anointment of Self as Source.
I like that.
I'm going to offer that program 10 times in 2026
Oh, good.
around the country, and once on a cruise ship and once in Cabo, Mexico. So we'll have some fun times with it too. Okay.
Oh,
So
cool.
that'll be on the website if anybody's interested in that course. But I think it's
Cruise ships are always fun.
yeah. It's I have in those 3 days what I think is the essential new education we need to have that can really have us have love triumph in our lives. So I'm really pleased with the course so far, how it's developing and what's happening for people out of it.
Cool. I like that. I appreciate that. Everything that you're doing, I appreciate very much.
My husband just goes, I thought you were retired. That's all he keeps saying to me. He says, aren't you retired? So it's like kind of a joke in our house.
I'm telling you, since I moved to Pennsylvania, I have not worked. I retired, and I worked so hard my whole life. And now I work more that I don't work. And I really did work hard, but now it's just like crazy, doing all this stuff. And we just got engaged. And yeah, I'm going to be planning my wedding. I know, 63. We're going to be 63, 64, getting married next year.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm like, I got to plan all that stuff too. But, it's still like, as I was always a business owner, and I do all these, I always had to do all the book work and all the things. I had multi-businesses, and now being with Bob, he's got a business. Now I'm doing all the taxes for him again. I'm like, geez, do I have to stop working?
Stop working. All right. Well, I perform weddings if you're interested. I love performing weddings. So
I actually just a friend of mine who actually does this events, like because we run this event, or part of. There's 3 fascists that run the big event at Penhurst, and it's huge. Like we had 9,000 people last year. That's how big it was, right? Wow. But one of our, I call them worker bees, right? Beth, she works for us, and she's ordained, and she's like, I would be honored, and I'm like, I would be honored to have her.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I'm really very much so looking forward to having her do that.
I have a wedding ceremony that I performed is in the book. Actually, there's a sample of the ceremony, and I make the point. If I lead a wedding, I make that point about that your experience never comes from the other person. So you don't get married to get love. When you get married, the other person gives the opportunity to be loving, and that's where the love comes from. So that's what they don't give you love. They give you the opportunity to be loving. So I get that very well established in the wedding vows.
I know. I love that. I love that because now since I've gotten, engaged and gotten all the, like everything's happening, that's all I see everywhere. That's all I hear everywhere. And then I read it in this book. I'm like, oh my God, it's here too, Yeah. I just tell you, I know I'm veering. I'm doing the shiny ball thing, but I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook. And I see this psychic, and I'm listening to him. He's from the UK. And I said, I could really use a message right now. And he's talking. Now, we're friends on the friends list, but I don't really know him. I've never followed him. I've never watched him. So I don't even know how I got friends list. But he goes, I've got to talk to you, Gina. And I said, oh, good. What's the message? And he goes, I see this, and he's doing this with the ring finger, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, I just got engaged. She's like, because this means wedding, someone's getting married, some of this, that. And he goes, I got to tell you, I have a room full of people here. Now, my parents, I just lost my parents, but my mom has a big Italian family and huge Italian family, and most of them are gone. We only have just a couple lots left, you know what I mean? And they're all saying to him that it's about time because we've been together for almost 9 years, and it was just like, it was the funniest thing, and just like that he does this and everything. And all the other things that he was saying was just so spot on. It was just insane. I said, you know what? I need to have you on my show.
Great.
Now I booked him. I booked him. He's going to be on the show in February.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well,
I don't.
you're doing so much great work with your show because you're getting, getting such a message of possibility out to the world. So it's really a great thing you're doing.
Thanks. And I don't know if it's as good as your thing, but I do the best I can. It's a variety. I try to put out as many different things as I possibly can that can help humanity. Help. We always say if we can help one person, our job is done. You know what I mean? We want to help everybody, but if we can at least help that one person, because that one person will help another and another and another and another and another.
Exactly.
Tell a friend.
Exactly.
And keep going. So, that's my whole reason for doing this and putting the effort in that I do. I believe in it. Like some of the things I get across my desk, I'm gonna say, when I read these books, because I read them, I read everybody's.
Mm-hmm.
And I have read, as you see, I have lots of books. I have books here that are my next shows coming up. I will read everybody's book. If I don't really like the book, I won't be holding it up 500 times during the show. I won't be saying a lot of things. I'll just, get through an interview and ask the questions I need to. However, and if I don't dog ear a book,
Mm-hmm.
that means there's, something I'm like, maybe I just don't disagree. I don't agree with everything in here, But even if I don't agree with everything in here, which I do though, but there's just so many good things,
So pleased. I'm so pleased. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we really are. You're doing this, and I'm doing what I'm doing. Where there's, a lot of us in the world where there's a movement out there. It's just, I swear, we are evolving as humanity, not physically. We're evolving consciously, and it's happening. So
yeah. That's why I'm just like so distraught about the state of being of political leaders, as opposed to people in general.
Mm-hmm.
The common people, the people that are not, politically involved and such, coming together on such incredible levels, by doing things like this, by doing the podcast, by having their YouTubes, by having their Instas, their whatevers, you know what I mean? And getting these messages out that people are connecting that ordinarily wouldn't have. And
also remember, Gina, that when there's a possibility present, whatever is inconsistent with that possibility stands out more vividly. So let's suppose you have a dirty dish in your sink. You might not even notice it. But let's suppose then you invent a possibility of cleanliness. All of a sudden, you'll notice that one dirty dish, it'll stand out, like it'll be glaring.
Right.
In contrast to the possibility of cleanliness. So everything that we're concerned about is glaring against the possibility of what? It's against the possibility of a real
solution,
of humanity, of a loving humanity, right? So we want to keep ourselves present to the possibility we're standing for of a loving humanity, and then what doesn't match it is glaring. That doesn't invalidate the possibility. It actually validates the possibility because it's standing out so glaringly against it. Okay.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's no dirty dishes in my sink.
I
have OCD really bad, and it's like I cannot. And I was just telling Bob the other day, I'm like, sometimes my OCD will drive me crazy because we'll put dishes in the sink like during the day, But if I'm going to cook dinner, no, I can't even start cooking dinner until everything is cleaned up, and then I can start dinner.
I don't have OCD, and I'm in your camp.
All right, good. There's one. I cannot. And just like
I tried one day to leave the house without the bed made. Couldn't do it. I got halfway out the door. I had to go back. I can't do
it. I've gotten a lot better at that, and I was a designer, so I was always like pillows. I was karate chopping my pillows. And, everything was always perfect. And now I will have a little corner, down on the bed, and if I don't flip that over, okay. All right. I'm okay with that now. I've gotten past my OCD because no one comes up here but me. You know what I mean? Like Bob, he doesn't care. And But I mean, if I knew someone was coming over, oh my God, the whole house has to be clean. Even though they're not going to go anywhere, the whole house has to be clean. I blame it on the Italian parent.
All right. Well, my parents were Italian, but somehow I got those genes. I'll tell you.
It's not a bad thing, but that was one of my businesses. And because I told you I'm from Massachusetts, so I have my Mass accent. And while I was up there, my company for cleaning was Gina's Cleaners. And that's how I spelled it, Cleanas. Cleaners. Right? But I had Decorative Solutions, which was my design company. And then my late husband, we had Central New England Exterior Specialist. So it was like I would design, he would rough build, I would finish, I would paint it, I'd put in kitchens and bathrooms and whatnot. And then the cleaning company would clean it all up. So it was like a full everything,
Beautiful.
You didn't need to go anywhere else. Then I lost him and lost half the businesses, and and now I'm doing other things.
Yeah, blessings, blessings, more blessings for you.
Right. So it's like, things you can get stuck in your past, you can accept, and you can move on. And that's what we all need to do. So this is the thing that I'm trying to get through to everybody at this stage of time. Yes, we have to accept what's going on, because what else can you do? Right? But what can you do moving forward?
Well, let's talk about acceptance for a minute. Now that you brought that up, acceptance. That's a really important topic for people too. Yeah. And people get a little bit stuck with acceptance because they think that accepting something means you're saying it's okay. Like if my car gets stolen and I accept it, then I'm saying it's okay my car gets stolen. No, that's not acceptance.
Right.
Acceptance has nothing to do with saying something's okay or it's not okay. Right. Acceptance is simply having something be what it is. So if it's raining out and I accept that it's raining, I don't go, it's okay that it's raining. No, that's approval. That's not acceptance.
Right.
Acceptance is simply, it's raining.
Yeah.
And what the big deal about acceptance is it lets me live powerfully and effectively. Like, oh, I accept that it's raining, then I carry an umbrella. If I don't accept that it's raining, I might go out and get wet. So acceptance lets you be powerfully interacting with life exactly the way it is. So acceptance is a very important aspect of our humanity.
Right. Yeah, you need to talk a lot about that in there too. I'm telling you, for 200 pages, there's a lot in here. For 200 pages, seriously. You would think what you have in here would be like at least a 400-page book, but it's not. And I like how you did the end. I'm not going to say anything about it because I want people to get it. But you have a nice prayer for grace right at the end here, and you have these little things that we can cut out and we can keep with us.
Yeah.
And you have a lot in here. You keep putting your QR code up in there too, because people love to use their phones. So you multiple times you have this in here. You have little things pointing out important factors. You have all these. It's just great. It's just.
I'm so glad. The QR code takes people to what we call a companion course. And in that, we have free things like I have free guided meditations people can listen to. That's
always nice.
Yeah. So let's share that prayer of grace. I like that prayer of grace. Should we share it?
Yeah.
So everybody listening, there's at the end of the book, there's something I call the prayer of grace. And it came to me in a meditation and became very powerful for me. And so I just wanted to share it with people and invite other people to have it be their prayer if they like. Okay. So it goes like this. It's simple. It's what I call the prayer of grace. It goes, may I use these arms to hold the whole world tenderly. May I use these hands to heal all who suffer. May I use these eyes to see the divine within all people. And may I use these ears to listen for the truth. And may I use this mind to think of us as light beings. And may I use this mouth to create possibility, awareness, remembrance, devotion, and creation itself. May I use these feet to walk in the world and bestow grace on all. May I use this heart to love without conditions, and may I use this whole being to anchor a dimension of love on the planet. And I call that the prayer of grace, and I invite people to take it and have it be theirs.
It's wonderful.
Put it in the back of the book on a page you can cut out. I have it on the dashboard of my car. It comes very handy in traffic, actually.
And then the next page is
Her Holiness Saima, who is, and the book is not, you don't need to be, I said my path included a spiritual awakening. That's, doesn't need to be everybody's path, but I wanted to include what the Guru, Her Holiness Saima, did make available to me and make it available to everybody. So, and that's why that's in there.
Debbie says a beautiful prayer. It is. It's a great book. It's just a great book. Mm-hmm. Well, talk about the meeting that you had with her first too, when you said she put your head down on her lap and everything, and explain that. Like that must have been just like,
it was startling for me. So I had my first encounter with Her Holiness Saima. It was a big event, and I'd never met her. So, well, first how I got to be with Saima was I had been meditating for several years, and one morning I was meditating at 5:30 in the morning. I'm in my bedroom meditating, and I get a call from a colleague at 5:30 in the morning. And I had just had this, in the meditation, I had this enormous experience of light. I literally opened my eyes to think something must have happened, like an eclipse or something, because the light was so, it was so bright. And I looked around, nothing had happened, but I get a phone call at 5:30 in the morning from a colleague. And she says, I don't know why I'm calling you. I go, okay. She goes, the only thing I can think of is I met a guru and she sends light and I think you should meet her. And I go, I think I just did. Right. So then she told me about Saima, and I found out who Saima was. And I found out that she was leading an event in Vail, Colorado. So I flew to Vail a few weeks later, and there were, I think, about 1,200 people in the room. I walked in, and Saima says, David, I've been waiting for you. And I'd never met her before. She goes, and then she says, come here. And she brought me up on the platform, and she put my head on her lap, and she brushed my back for about an hour, more than an hour, while she led the program to 1,200 people. She just brushed my back. And she leaned down and says, I was brushing away your karma. Your karma is complete now. And that was my first encounter with her. It was the most profound. I can't, I mean,
yeah, right. What do you say? It's just amazing.
Gratitude I have for it, right? So I've been like this with Saima ever since, you can imagine, right? And in fact, last week I just spent 8 days with Saima at an event in Florida.
Nice. I know. I like the conversation you put in, conversations that you have with her in the book and everything too. Again, like I'm saying, there's like so much in this book. It's crazy.
But she's bringing out. She is literally working to anchor a dimension of love on the planet, and it is brilliant work that she's doing in new consciousness. So if anybody is interested in that, they could find out about Saima on her website, saima.com, SAIMAA, saima.com. Or they can read about it in the book, and my book will tell them how to find it too. The book, by the way, is available on audio. So people that don't want to read, want to listen to it, I recorded it myself, which was a challenge to get the dog not to bark and the birds not to tweet while I was trying to record this book.
Was it SAIMA?
SAI, new word, MAA. SAIMAA.
SAIMAA.com.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. And but anyway, the book is available on audio, and I recorded myself, which is also I'm really pleased I got to do that. That was it's a real communication between me and people.
Neat. Mm-hmm. So what's going to be the title of your next book?
Interesting you ask. I've been really, just the last 2 weeks, I've been like, it's time, right? Like time to write the next book. So I've got 2, maybe 3 titles in mind. They each take a different angle, right? One is I/we are as powerful as the sun. Okay. And I really am committed to people that we discover that that are the energy we can exude, the love we can put out in the world
Okay,
is
I like that.
is as powerful as light, right?
Okay.
And and I have um, I really enjoy and want to make available to other people, even loving remotely. Like my grandchildren live in Connecticut, which is 5 hours away drive, right?
My grandchild's in Connecticut too. What a small world. We're both in Pennsylvania and our grandchildren are in Connecticut.
How about that? Okay. And if I had my way, I'd be with my grandchildren every day, and I'm not. But I discovered that in my meditation, etc., I can literally experience being with them as light, as love, and literally wrap them in love and light. And it's as satisfying as if I was there physically. So I call it loving remotely. I can love remotely.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, again, on the horizon for us as human beings, is to be able to work that way and live that way. And it's very fulfilling. Anyway, so Simon,
how does that relate to a book title?
oh, new book. So we're as powerful as the sun is how I got on that. Like the way, if I watch the way light works, if I look at the sun in my backyard, and then I look at and I watch how the light wraps itself around everything with no judgment, no discrimination. It just wraps itself around everything. It loves everything equally. And the sun in my backyard is the sun. It's not like a chunk of the sun that fell off. It is the sun here. So it's no less the sun than the sun is. It's like the sun here. That's all, right?
Okay.
So I want us as human beings, I think we cut ourselves off from source. We're like, there's source or there's God or whatever, and I'm here and I'm not that. I'd like us to relate to ourselves as the light, like, oh, yeah, I'm it here. I'm the light here. And so I can then exude that, and I can share that energy out into the world.
Yep.
So the point is, the title of my next book might be "I'm as powerful as the sun."
I like that. I really, really like that because most prana healers, I do prana healing, Reiki, prana, shamans.
Mm-hmm.
I can go on and on and on. Send healing, send everything, through energy, through light, through, like my hands heat up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I'm like someone's sick around me, they heat up really a lot. You know, and it's all energy related.
Yeah.
But a shaman can remote see you. A shaman can send, archangels to battle demons for you if you need. You know what I mean? It's like that powerful that things can be sent.
Yeah.
And it's true.
And I invite people. I invite people to study the light, just study the sunlight, and look at the nature of sunlight. And the sunlight in their backyard, watch it wrap around every leaf, every blade of grass, every tree. It wraps around everything. No judgment, no discrimination, and it's not like separate from the sun. It is the sun here, so it's not. There's no break, right?
Right.
So there doesn't have to be a break for us either, right?
Right. And then we ground and shield ourselves. We bring this white light in. We take out negative energy. We infuse positive energy. We create a light bubble around us. We are this. This is us. So I think that title is very apropos, very perfect.
Then I have another one that so I may write two more books, but another one is, and it's a little bit, I'm having a little trouble with the title, but it's Living in Christ's Example for Non-Christians and Christians. All right.
Okay, that will be accepted as well too, because the majority, not the minority anymore, right? It's changed. Majority of people I talk to, that I'm Catholic, but I'm not a practicing Catholic. I put in a little bit of everything, so that's the norm today. So
I got, I have a few times I live way out in the country. There's a tiny, tiny little wood frame church I've been to, and when the minister was on vacation, they asked me to step up and do the sermon, right, a few times. So, and the thing that I kept addressing each time I got the opportunity to sermon was everybody that was there would talk about being in Christ's example, but yet they would find it difficult. They would still be judging their own brothers and unable to forgive their own wives. And so as much as people aspired to living in Christ's example, they found it difficult. I'm asserting we find it difficult only because of that paradigm we got educated in, that everything is right or wrong, good or bad. So we're trapped in judging.
Yes.
So we've got to free ourselves from judging. Now, we won't free ourselves from judging until we really free ourselves from that whole paradigm of right and wrong, good or bad.
And there's all the whole chapter 1, 2, and 3 right there. Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly, right? So, because we got educated that everything is right or wrong, everything is good or bad. We just listen to people. They never said whether. They said,
you do this, you're going to hell. End story.
Exactly.
That's it.
And they never said weather. They said good weather, bad weather. They never said music. They said good music, bad music, because they asserted everything was good or bad, right or wrong. And so we got trained that everything is good or bad, right or wrong. And that's the way we see the world now. So we are trapped in being judgmental people until we can free ourselves from that paradigm and get nothing is good or bad, right or wrong. That's an evaluation of things. It's not the thing itself. So if you listen to music, you're welcome to say it's good music. You're welcome to say it's bad music. But that has nothing to do with the music. There's no good or bad in the music. The music is just vibration, sound.
Right. I prefer, right?
Yeah.
I prefer this music. I listen to 70s, 60s, 70s. That's what I listen to all the time. I can't really listen to anything else because I go out of my mind.
Okay, good. So anyway, we want to free people. So that could be another book, Living in Crisis.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So not just it could be this title or that title. That's 2 separate books. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you need? A year for each book, so I can have you back on this time next year. That book.
6 months for each book. It takes about 6 months.
6 months. So I can have you on twice in 2026. 1 or 3 times, because we can say, all right, how is it going? Maybe halfway through the year. How's it going with the movement on the Capitol?
And the movement around the world. Do we have members from every country in the world?
Right. So, yeah. Because now you're a Fox 10 family member for life, whether you like it or not.
You love it. That's just great, Gina. Thanks.
But and when Mama D, unfortunately, her not being here, but she's my sharing queen. Okay, she shares everything everywhere, and your links would be everywhere, and she's always putting them in the chat room. So I'll have to go back and do all that after, and then go on YouTube's and put them on there, and all that kind of stuff. She usually sits and does all that.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But sharing is the answer. Getting the word out there is the answer. Doing it.
Yeah. Let's invite anybody listening to ask a question, get in the chat if they want, right? Can they do that?
Yeah. Deb, you got any questions that you might want to ask David?
I'd love to answer any questions, okay?
And I don't know if my thing isn't working, but I'm not seeing anything from our YouTube channel, and I don't know why.
All right. Well, let's hope they come.
Yeah, because usually all the things come up over here, but they're not coming up. But we do you realize we've been talking for an hour and a half already?
I know it goes fast when it's all so creative and fun
and organic. Organic. But I do have so she says no. Okay. But all right, so let's go to this last section of questions here that I have, and it says personal reflections and practices. And after leading transformational programs for more than 30 years, how do you personally stay grounded in love each day? Now I was talking about the grounding, like I do my process to stay grounded, which keeps everyone else's negative energy. So what is your process?
Well, aside from a daily meditation, I also then look ahead at my day and I ask myself, who am I going to encounter today? And then before I go, this is before I leave the house or before I pick up the phone, I actually say, what is the love footprint I want to leave behind after that interaction? So I actually do it before I meet the person. What's the love footprint I want to leave? And then after I'm done, I give myself a report card on how I did. I rank myself on a scale of 0 to 5. 5 is I left a good love footprint. 0 is, ooh, that didn't. I was letting that go. Now, it's not foolproof. I'm telling you, I had an interaction with my dry cleaner about a month ago that I could have been put in jail for. It was over an important thing, like how the shirts were done, right? But for like 5 minutes, I was in this interaction with my dry cleaner, and it was not nice. And it was an argument, and he was sure he was right, and I was sure I was right. And the whole point was which one of us was right about how the shirts were. Can you imagine? It was like, what a ridiculous.
But usually the craziest of arguments are always over the smallest, pettiest things, you know.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
you like starching your shirts or you don't?
luckily, I had a 10-minute drive home, and I got to recapture my sanity. And by the time I got home, I called him back as soon as I got home and said, I am so sorry, right? Because it was exactly, I mean, I left a terrible love footprint that day. But you can always, the point is, you can always recover it. If you blow it, you can always recover it. Just go back and recover it. So that's the good news about a love footprint. It's never permanent. You can always go back and recover it. So I got home, I called him right away and made peace again. So, but so
that's good. That's making amends. You know what I mean? When you do something wrong, the quicker you do that, the more practice you have doing something like that, the quicker you can do that.
Yeah, but the point is, you asked me, how do I keep myself grounded? Is one thing I do is I look at my day. Who am I going to meet? And what who am I going to encounter, and what do I want my love footprint to be, and then give myself a report card afterwards. That keeps me very grounded, actually.
I like that. Now, okay. So what practices or disciplines sustain you when you're facing challenge, conflict, or even heartbreak?
Well, I do have a daily meditation practice as well, which I truly enjoy. And what really works for me is to lead meditation for others. So you'll often see me offer free guided meditation on Zoom. I'll just like put it on my Facebook, and whoever wants to join me, and I usually get 40 to 50 people a morning. Nice. And just do a half an hour meditation. But that, not only doing my own meditation, but leading meditation for others, really calls something forth, right? So I really enjoy that. And that one practice, a very concrete practice I have, if I'm upset about something, worried about something, is I literally will hold my hands out in front of me, close my eyes, and I'll hold my hands out in front of me, and I'll picture that thing in my hands. It could be a person I'm upset with, or it could be just the energy. I'm like angry, and I'll picture having anger in my hands. And then I'll very slowly, with my eyes closed, very slowly bring my hands and put it in my heart. And it dissolves. Anger dissolves, resentment dissolves, fear dissolves. It really does. So that's a very simple practice for people.
Yeah. One of these books in here, it was a long time ago, maybe a couple of years ago. There was a couple, and that's what they do. They take everything from everybody, and they put it into their hearts. So they'll take your pain and put it in their hearts. And, and as a like Reiki and prana, we never put it in our own hearts. We always put it back to the ground, and we ground it and we get it away. We don't subject ourselves to it. And they're like what you just said, but because this will dissolve in here, because you have so much energy in that one, that your heart is like so full of energy and that light, and that will dissolve all those things. And you just brought that memory back. Now I gotta find that book over here.
Okay, it's on one of those shelves back there.
I know, right?
Yeah. So that works very powerfully. And I think another thing that works is I do have a practice of bringing humor to things. So,
No.
my husband and I have been together 30 years, right? And we've been together 31 years actually. And I found over the years it works if he and I get into a little, you know, whatever tense moment. It works. It works to bring. Now, in our wedding vows, though, we made it clear. Our wedding vows went something like, I said, Bill, I expect nothing from you. And I promise you, you'll love every day of your life with me. And he says, David, I expect nothing from you. So we really got clear from the beginning that we were not expecting the other person to make our life right. So that was a big
great. That's
foundation right for me. But regardless, when there is something that I found myself struggling with him, to bring some humor with it doesn't have to always be hard. Like a silly example is, when we first got together, I like to be acknowledged for things. He could care less about acknowledging people for things, right? He's one of 9 kids. It was like, you got nothing, right? So I go, Bill, like, didn't you see I just did this great job cooking dinner?
I know. Do I get an attaboy? Bob says that to me all the time. Can I get an attaboy? I'm like, do you really need one?
Now, when I first started pointing out, I was pointed out like a resentment, like, hey, I think you didn't acknowledge me, right? And he would have to defend himself, right? So if I tell him he's wrong, then he's got no choice but to defend himself, right? So I brought humor. I started bringing humor to it, and so now it's kind of a running joke between us. I'll point to the bed or something. Go, oh, he goes, I have never seen somebody make a bed like that. That's the best bed making I've ever seen, right? So it's now become a source of play between us. So that's
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's important, and I don't mean to trivialize anything, but I think it's important not to take ourselves quite so seriously all the time.
Yeah, because seriously, those little teeny things can turn into wars. So that's basically what happens in the world today. So no, I love that. I think that could be a book right there.
Yeah. One third thing is I'll talk about is I get my attention off myself. So another story I would tell you is when Bill and I, early in our relationship, he's, as I say, he's one of 9 kids. One of his brothers had a new fiance, and we got invited to her family's house for Easter. So it's like his brother's fiance's family. We don't know anybody, right?
Right.
In those days, I was traveling a lot. It was one of my weekends home. So I was like, I do not want to go to, like, I don't want to go be with strangers for Easter Sunday, right? So I got half dressed and I laid back down on the bed. He walks in and goes, oh, we're in trouble, aren't we? But then I flipped it over for myself because I didn't want to go. I flipped it over for myself from worrying about how the day was going to be for me. I said, okay, I'm going to go have this be the best Easter they ever had. I'm going to make this Easter great for them. They invited us into their family in their home. I'm going to go make it great for them. So I got my attention off myself, and I went and had my attention be on that they loved their day. And I ended up loving the day, right? And they loved, because I had my attention off myself. So that's another thing that works, is to get my attention off myself. I know.
And now you got family.
Oh, we're like now together with them. We're like with them a lot. We have a day after Thanksgiving every year. They have what they call a fish boil. So we're like standard fare is the day after Thanksgiving. We're at their house for fish boil.
I love it. That's great. That is great.
So those are things, and keeping in communication is important. To stay in communications, important not to isolate ourselves, to stay in communication. To really be willing to share the ups and downs, the goods and the bads with other people. It makes a difference too, sharing.
Definitely. Heather, you can go on to the YouTube channel and you can watch the beginning of this after. He's great. The book is really great. And let me quickly put up these banners here. That's the movement that he's doing right now. And if you go back and watch the beginning, oh, it's impressive. He's impressive. YourLoveDoesMatter.com. That you can get the book there. You can get the book on Amazon. Either way. You can go and find him on all the different social medias. Right here on the going across the bottom. He's on LinkedIn, David-W-Cunningham. On Insta, he's David Cunningham .official. Okay, and I found him that way. He's David Cunningham author on YouTube. David Cunningham. No, David Cunningham official is YouTube, and David Cunningham author is Facebook. All right, so you can find them all on those different things.
Great, thanks. And I love hearing from people. So, I love feedback on the book too. So anybody that reads the book, I love feedback on it.
Yeah. So like getting back to let's see here. Let's see what she say. Sounds great. Awesome. It's wonderful. But what? Speaking of like lessons, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What has love taught you the most about yourself, and that surprised you the most?
It taught me the most about myself is that I had a strength I didn't know I had. I had a partner. My first husband died of AIDS way back in 1988. So that's a long time ago, right? He was 29 when he died, right? So, that was 40 years ago. So he'd be, 67 now? It's hard to imagine, right? Because I remember him as a 29-year-old, right?
Right.
But the love, I was surprised. That was tough. It was no bones about it. That was, that was a tough time. And I found a strength I didn't even know I had in loving him and loving, his brother who was not accepting, and loving, there was a lot to, so I think the answer to your question, what has it taught me the most, is it taught me that I have a strength that I didn't know I had to get through anything in life. It left me confident in a way, right? Confident that I don't know if confidence is the right word, but fearless isn't quite the right word either. But it left me like, I know I can be anywhere with anybody, anytime, and work things out. So I'm not afraid to be with people anywhere, anytime, under any circumstance, right? And I haven't been tested. I haven't been in war, and I haven't been in prison myself. I've worked with a lot with prisoners. I've done a lot of work with people that have been in prison. I just emceed a conference 2 weeks ago for a group called Prisons to Partnerships, doing extraordinary work around the country, transitioning people out of prison back in the community. So I've done a lot of work with people in prison, but I've never been in prison myself. So I haven't been tested in that environment, and I haven't been in war. But I've been tested in other, pretty tough environments, right? And I really have discovered through my love, I really can work anything out with anybody.
That's a lot. I mean, and to go from the loss. I mean, grieving is tough, and it really is, because I lost my husband. You lost your husband. Colette here that just said hello. She just lost her husband, just like yesterday. Lost her. And it is a process. It never goes away. It changes. You change your feelings, your emotions, how you handle things. But we do surprise ourselves with how much we can do. The things that we have to get done, we will get done. How much strength can just come out of us is kind of profound, and you'll see, Colette, you can handle everything that's coming your way. There's no doubt. You have two survivors right here. We handled everything that we needed, and so will you. Okay. Heather says, my producer from New York passed from AIDS in the 90s. It was devastating. I'm so sorry you had to feel that sadness and pain. Oh, sorry too, Heather. And and Debbie is sending hugs to you, Colette. And I don't know if your friends are. I don't know if you can see that, but she sent hugs, and so am I.
See, people are just great, aren't they? Give people a chance. People are just great.
Oh yeah, yeah, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I love my people so much.
I know. That's a good thing. That's great. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now, all right, we're gonna close out the show with this question. All right, if you can leave our listeners with one invitation for their own life, what would it be?
I've said it a couple times in the show, but it's going to be expand your love footprint. Just bring into your consciousness that you have a love footprint, and just play the game called I'm leaving a great love footprint. I think it's simple and profound in its simplicity.
Awesome. Now, we have a lot of good things coming from David. Everyone has to follow him in all those different, social medias. Get the book, join the movement. For the love of God, join the movement. Okay. We're going to be seeing big things coming from him from next year. The movement at the Capitol, which is going to be phenomenal. Tell them again, because there's some people that came in just now, what you're going to be doing with people at the Capitol.
We're going to go to the Capitol once a week for a year, and every week we're going to go to the Capitol and just do an act of love. No political talk whatsoever. An act of love. So the first week we're going to take a group of guys that are right out of prison. They're going to go up and we're going to deliver an orchid to every legislator. Next week we're going to take a group of trans teenagers up and we're going to just open the doors for legislators. Graciously, honorably open doors. No political talk whatsoever. Third week, we're taking a group of moms on food assistance up to the Capitol, deliver a letter of acknowledgement to everybody. And regardless of how they voted, it doesn't matter. We're going to acknowledge everybody. We're going to go to the Capitol every week for a year with an act of love, committed that infusing that much love into the political environment has to make a difference. And by the end of the year, we'll have we'll have a new environment at the Capitol.
Yeah. That's you're very welcome, Colette. And it's a big thing. It's a big thing that he's doing. It's a wonderful thing that he's doing. It's a much needed thing that he's doing. If you missed the beginning of the show, please go to the YouTube channel, watch it there. The Fox 10 Jimmy and Mama D with David, well, the Fox 10 with Daid Cunningham. It would be listed under.
And please, could people go to the website, yourlovedoesmatter.com, and join the Love Matters collaboration. And when you join, it's free. You sign a pledge to expand your love footprint. That's what it is to be a member, is expanding your love footprint. So
it is. And there it is.
Country in the world.
And there it is. And again, so that's the love, goes to the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's the website for that underneath. You can get the book on Amazon. You can get the book on his website. Just get it.
So great to be with you. Thank you so much, and everybody listening.
Well, like I said, now you're part of the family, and my thing's not moving here. Oh my goodness, what's going on? Well, I can't move my screen. I can't get to my exit video. Well, let me move my screen. Oh, that's so weird. I don't know. Well, then I don't think I can play my exit video because my thing is frozen here. It's never done that. Maybe I can I can just see the very top of it. Exit. I got my exit. All right. So sorry about that. But David, I absolutely loved having you here. I absolutely think you're amazing. Excuse my voice. It's horrible. I just know that everybody's going to know you like a common name in their house, and it should be. And I pray that happens.
Thank you. Privileged to be with you. Blessings to everybody.
All right. Ciao for now, everybody. See y'all next week. And prayers for Mama D so she feels better. And hang with me for a minute. All right. And ciao, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.